quite a lot of people in games say roadsters can't. And I'm going to be honest here. That would be true if only Need for Speed Payback could add what this game has. A supercharger. Okay, that was dumb. It gave me frickin' hypercars to race against. Which I don't understand. And P.S. folks, you don't always have to win the race. What I would suggest is, do the race to get better parts. Okay, that's bull. They need to not make it to where these AIs do that. Like, they cannot be above the vehicle itself. Anyway, like I was saying, if you're not a yabba with the throttle, you can use any car to your advantage. I don't know why people keep saying old roadsters just can't hang. It's true with some of the modifications. But if you're not a yabba with the throttle and make a grip build rather than a drift build, it freaking works. I don't know why you would try to make a drift roadster. It just does not freaking work. No matter how much power you pour out of this engine, oh great, I got all these idiots to go through. Okay. I'm gonna need to get the block upgrade before I can do anything. Which is a minor issue. And I use that term very. So if you want to see how to use this vehicle, here's how you use it. Make sure when you're doing the race, your foot is planted on the throttle until you need to turn. Or you make a grip build like I made. Sure, the engine only has 4 gears. But these old roadsters, they can go pretty darn fast if you push them. Because this is not a V6, folks. This is a V8. An older V8. And it's okay to cheat a little bit. Okay, that first of all should not have been able to be done. This race's horsepower is only 100. First off, how? Second, no. Oh my god. I hate when fucking AI... Okay, the developers need to stop doing that. When they make a game, when they make it easy, make it to where the vehicles can only be a certain horsepower. And stop making it to where the developers are the only ones that can win. That really doesn't make any sense. Because it makes it impossible for you to, oh I don't know, upgrade certain vehicles because of said stupidity. So if any developers can hear me, go f*** yourself with that. Or as I like to call it, don't make your game too damn difficult. That means if it says the race is a certain easy, the AI cannot physically beat you. It's just my saying. But I digress. I'm not mad, I'm just... It's confusing, because that's what the race said. And yet, they do that. Give you Subarus. Talk about adding an insult to the game. Subarus should only be used in one way. Not beating big block V8s. They shouldn't. They physically shouldn't. I mean, there is a lot of power you can squeeze out of a Subaru, but physically, you can only squeeze about... How much was it? 600 possible. Anything above 600 to 700 is technically lethal for the engine. P.S. folks, I'm not using this car because it's overkill. I'm using it because it's a good car. I don't mind it. It actually does have a reference in my personal heart. A personality. It has a personal stage in my heart. And it's the livery alone that has that personal stage. If I could get this for all my cars, I would definitely freaking get it. This was one of the very first cars I had in one of the very first Need for Speed games. But I digress. And I'm sorry about the you can't hear engine glitch. That crap happens to me a lot. I don't know why. It's just with certain races, it just makes it to where you can only hear that frickin' turbo like it's a frickin' electric car. P.S. Electrics and turbos don't mix. It won't physically work. I don't care what the people tell you. You cannot turbocharge an electric engine. Because, well, it's impossible. You can make a hybrid frickin' faster, but that's about it. And if you're going to do some long-range endurance races, make sure your car has twice the horsepower. V8s can technically go above 900 horsepower. You just have to make sure the torque and the horsepower link up together, or else you're going to have a problem. As hard as it is to believe that, it just does not work like that. I don't know why people keep saying you can only turbocharge a V8 and make it better. Turbochargers suck on big block V8s. And here's the reason why. Turbos have lag. If you're going to do anything to a V8, you supercharge the damn thing. Never put a turbo on a V8. No matter how much boost it makes, it's just not going to sound right. And if you put a turbocharger on a V8, best of luck to you, because you've pretty much pissed off all V8 owners. If you're gonna have a V8, put a Holly on it. Nothing more, nothing less. And that was fucking stupid. Never seen an AI act like that. Never. That was borderline stupid. $10,000. Easy. And PS folks, use a higher powered car before you get your upgrades for your V8. There we go. Now it doesn't sound like a goofy an electric car now. Now it actually makes some sense. Which I really don't understand why that glitch happened. It has to be an audio error. That tends to happen from time to time with these games. And don't be a yabo and use your nitrous off on the fucking start. There's a lot of things you can do, but you can't force a V8 or V6 to go up to 100 off a start with just a nitro boost. You literally physically have to get the engine over 900 RPM before you can use the nitro kick. And I hate saying it, it does do that in games. You physically have to have it over 900 RPM before the engine will handle it. Or at least you at least have to have it in a certain gear. The only reason I do this $9,000 race is because the other races are just, they're not worth it in my opinion. You're gonna need a car with a hell of a lot of torque and power to beat them. I do love the fact that I got this car for free, which means I can buy this thing anytime I physically want. P.S. If you want to know my personal opinion with the Roadster, grip build, not a drift build. The tires are technically grippy enough because they're old vintage. Vintage tires, I hate saying, have actually a lot more grip than you would think. As ridiculous as it is, it does work. But I digress. Another couple things to know. V8s are technically superior older-wise than the newer ones. Because older V8s and V6s technically have what we call a inboard limiter. They're technically physically limited. The engine can only take up to a certain horsepower. There's not much you can squeeze out of it. You can pretty much frickin' try, but it just ain't gonna work. Literally. I've seen people try to force a V6 to go faster. They blow up. P.S. folks, the only reason I'm doing this race is because my car physically does not have the engine power. If I remember correctly, I needed 34 grand, in fact, to get the engine upgrade. Because I hate saying this, folks, I pushed the thing physically to the frickin' max. Like, I'll show you. I physically have pushed this engine to its literal fucking max. Oh, here's another thing. If you're gonna push the engine, at least push it to a certain degree. Which means get the right freaking parts. $36 grand actually for the elite prep. Oh, bathtub, you fucking animal. And also, people, don't trash talk old V8s. Old V8s technically do have their own limit. And I hate saying it. Physically? Engines of old style are technically better than newer ones. Fully adjustable differential. And P.S. folks, the only reason I got the dadgum differential is because, well, it's better. So folks, if you're gonna make a roadster, go with the parts that give you more power first before messing with certain other ones. I know it's going to be hard, but it'll make sense in the long run. And you can technically force these V8s to go slightly faster. It just takes a bit more. Now let me think. If this track gives me a big enough straight, I can unleash the V. P.S. folks, always bite the inside of the corner rather than the outside. You'll get a lot more speed out of it that way. Just saying. What the fuck? Okay, that made no sense. Of fucking course. I'm not paying that fine. And don't worry, folks, I can get out of this. Crown Vics technically don't have the best track record. And P.S. folks, if you get another car, just use it for the XP boost. Never try to use it for other means. It just won't work. That, and no offense, get only cars you would drive. Something you would like. Something personal. And I don't know why people keep telling me, well, and if you're other players in a session with other racers and you see people racing, don't be a jerk and slam into them. Doesn't work that way. Because that just makes you what me and my friends like to call trolls. And trolls are not alike. They're not like they never were. So if you're going to troll people, do it on your own time. So I'm going to show you folks when to use a nitro boost. Always use the nitro boost when in a certain gear. Of fucking course. Pedestrians. And P.S. developers, if you're watching this, don't be dicks and make pedestrians do that. When you're racing, make it to where pedestrians are not available. Because one, it is, well, first, not fair for other people because they end up running into the fucking idiots you create. The reason street races are called street races is there's no pedestrians and or others. Use it on a legitimate standpoint. There are never pedestrians on racing roads. If there's a race involved, you're guaranteed to not have cars on it. Because I hate saying this, if you're gonna make a racing game, AI is allowed, but only when you're free roaming, not when you're racing. Because one, this shit may not be legal, but the cops, if they find out there is a street race in progress, all traffic will be halted in that residential area. You could at least get that f***ing right. Because if there's a lot of people that know there's a street race, not a lot of them are going to be on the roads. Just saying. Makes more sense that way. Less of a hassle for other players, too. And there's a thing called rear view mirrors, developers, and if a car turns in your physical way and you're coming at them at full speed, the AI should know how to use a motherfucking rear view mirror. Like they should physically, when the car comes flying by at max speed, they should look in their rear view and see you. And physically stop. Never, ever shall they get in their way. Everyone knows that. Rear view mirrors are technically what saves lives as well as other people. The Crew 2 is an exception because, well, it's legal. They legalized it, which means street racing is legal in that area. Which means, literally, people know about it, so they're not going to get metaphorically in the physical way. No one's going to be dumb enough to get in your way when you're doing at least 100 to above 120 miles an hour. That's just common fucking sense. Makes no sense why you should get in the way of a car doing at least max top speed, top end on a straightaway. I mean, good lord. Makes more sense than anything I know. On PS, folks, tires do affect how your car drives. The more tread loss you have, the less grip you have. Which means, I'm gonna say this once, no matter how cool it looks to have 20-inch style rims, don't do it. Because, how do I put this? It's not the size of the wheel that makes the sense. It's how much tread you have got that makes sense. It doesn't matter that your car looks dope or other cool words. It just doesn't work. Believe me when I say this. The bigger the rim does not equal the more grip. The bigger the rim equals less of the grip. And unless you're making a drift car, don't make the rims too ridiculous. And two, if you put 20 inches on a Ford F-150, you're pleb. That's an off-road vehicle, not a frickin' sedan. And never make a drift truck in any game. That includes GTA 5, which I do play from time to time, but I don't play it anymore. For a literal fact. Too many hackers, modders, and such. Modders I can handle. There's also too many tryhards. And for those who don't know what a tryhard is, he physically does nothing but make himself look like a complete ass. Instead of doing missions for money, he does what me and my friends call the dick move. He physically targets you and you alone to make your rage quit. And for people who are autistic, I am sorry for that. I'm autistic as well. I don't appreciate tryhards, let alone the shit they do. Makes literally no sense. All they do is try to kill you. They do nothing but kill you. And eventually when you kick their ass enough, they eventually rage quit themselves. Because they're apparently not try-hardy enough. No. I'm going to put this in a physical standpoint. This I'm going to say now. If you're a country person, and you know how to use a damn firearm, here's a word of advice. Use this tactic. Shoot a sniper rifle, relocate. Shoot, relocate. Shoot, relocate. Never stay in the same location twice. Keep him guessing. It works. As dumb as it frickin' sounds, it f***ing works. You don't need to be all over the place saying, and believe me when I say this, folks, when I get my Ford maxed out, you'll be surprised at what you can do with an old style car. Sorry folks for that rough start. I have a slight ant problem. Currently I have an ant walking across my hand. Slightly annoying. Oh, for... Okay, I can't drive with a goddamn ant on my fucking hand. I hate insects. They bother the hell out of me. And they always go for me for some reason. Oh, of course. And if you folks go for the Lotus, I have no halt. I have no dislikes for it. I actually think the Lotus is a good vehicle. So if you go for the Lotus, you have my respect. Technically, if you go for any old style cars, I have more respect to you. If you love old style cars, more respect. Just remember, just because it's out of style does not mean it cannot be used in a physical manner. So remember, folks, and I'm not ending this, just because it's an old car, don't, and I mean don't, get it twisted. The car will physically be a lot better than you think. And I hate admitting, but I have more respect for older cars than I do newer ones. Because back in those days, crap was a hell of a lot easier. And second of all, don't blow all your damn nitrous. If you ever race in a racing game, a word of advice, save the nitro boost. You blow it all in one go, you won't have enough boost when you truly need it. That's why I never blow it. Christ, that was nearly bad. And P.S. folks, I don't make these videos to like upset anyone or insult anyone. I make these videos because I feel like making a video. And, well, I make videos of games I enjoy playing. Nothing I don't. And I just make some of these videos just to give vehicle advice. Because, to be honest, I know more about engines than most people do. You physically can't push a V8 over 900 horsepower and 900 torque. You physically cannot. Because here's what's going to happen. You force a V8 over that limit, the engine will explode. And sometimes those explosions are fucking lethal. I know how it sounds. I know that you people probably think it's possible. You can do it, but the engine's not going to last as long as you think because you're pushing it to overclock. Or as I like to call it, you're overdoing and overusing the engine. And there's bound to be an explosion of some sort. And as much as I hate saying this, new cars are good and all, but nothing beats the classics. If there was one classic car I wish was in this game, a Bel Air. You could make that a 50s gasser. Or make it a gasser. And P.S. folks, do me a favor and keep my mom in your prayers. She's going through neck surgery. Because apparently my mom's neck is actually bent in the opposite direction it should mentally, or should I say, should physically be in. It's supposed to be bent towards the back area. It's bent towards her jugular. So yeah, that kind of sucks. And this is right after, by the way, she's had back surgery. And I hate saying it. And as much credit as I give my mother, sometimes even her body makes decisions I am confused on. And P.S. folks, if you're going to do a racing game, my opinion, go overboard. Physically upgrade your car to the max power. And I mean, if you've unlocked the ability to max out the engine and everything, max it out. P.S. folks, I have beat Need for Speed Payback, and I beat that with a Crown Victoria. So for people who say it's impossible, not really. You can beat the game with any vehicle. It doesn't matter what it is or how much power it has. If you're not a yabo with the throttle, you should in theory be able to do it. I hate admitting it. Driving those older cars are ridiculous. Believe me. And Crown Vics are a good representation. It may be old and out of date, but it's still got a class in my heart. Oh, FUD. And P.S. folks, okay, so that one's got 300. What does this one have? The best way I've found out to see what a car's power is, 416. Let me see how much power I've got on that Ford. You know what's funny? That's actually a lot faster than it used to be. So if you want my personal opinion, don't knock a Roadster till you've rocked it. I'm gonna physically see if I can do that race with the Roadster. Take this in mind, folks. This thing only has 4 gears. 4. Not 5, not 6. 4. And I hate admitting it, I'm a little skeptical that this car is going to be able to do it. Not because I don't believe in it, I just don't think it has enough. I mean, my top end is absolute bogus, but at least the engine. Alright, here we go, folks. Wish me luck with the Roadster. Holy crap, does this thing rocket. To those folks who said the Roadster is no good, I mean, you've got a top end. It backs down in power when you don't want it to. It's like, bloody course. Huh. I think I figured out why this thing wasn't physically fast enough, folks. Not enough gears. Now I've finally got my 5th gear. And you can truly see why the Roadster has been nicknamed the Rocket for a reason. This is why me and my friends called this thing the Rocket. It turns into a mini torpedo. The hell just happened? Oh my god, that stupid glitch with the cop. Folks, that was stupid. I don't know what the heck happened there. The game physically lost track. Oh, wow. Okay, now I physically can... Mitsubishi... Lotus. Oh, P.S. folks, superchargers don't lag for this reason. They're being auto-spun by the engine itself. That's why they're better. The engine upgrade should have gave this a 6th gear. Oh god, I've never had that glitch before. This is why, folks, you don't laugh at vehicles like this. Tops out a heck of a lot, though. The reason why I say a supercharger is better than a bloody turbo, here's why. Turbos are sucking in air. The more air the engine intakes its manual self, is how fast the turbo will spin. Once that happens, the turbo will auto-spin via the pressure. Superchargers, however, are spun by the motor belt itself, which means the harder you put your foot in it, the more the belt spins, the faster the engine induces power. I know that's hard to understand for most of you non-car geeks, but that is the gist of power. Older cars technically can get away with it. The car physically has more power than it needs. But hey. Now I'm going to show you folks, after I do one last modification, how to make the perfect roadster. Okay, first off, remove the fins. P.S. Now you folks see how to make a roadster. This is ridiculously physical. I physically can't get over the fact that the engine sounds like this the more you upgrade it. Damn. Thanks. Took me an hour to make the darn thing. It's about time I pushed the envelope a little bit. Is my mic even working? Yeah. I'll tell you what the more expensive parts are. It's the engine block itself and the turbo, which is technically a $30,000 supercharger. Those two parts took the longest to get. I'm really pushing the envelope here. Physically, I am pushing this engine to its pretty much breakneck. I just need the fuel system, which will cost me about $9 grand. The camshaft, which will cost me about $9. Manifold is the same. Exhaust is $7. Nitro kit, however, is $7,500. Yeah. It'll cost you about 36 grand for the engine block upgrade. It'll cost you about 36 grand for the frickin' turbo upgrade, which pretty much just pushes this thing from a 100 horsepower to about 200 nearly. With the engine upgraded, it pushes you from about 50 horsepower to about 120, if I remember. Yeah. V8, so you can expect a lot from it. V8s do have that punch. I'll tell you this thing will rival a Lotus, if I remember correctly. You can outrun a Lotus in this thing. Done it before. Ridiculously, but it works. Where was that other race I was trying to do? Because I don't know if I don't think it's going to be able to do it. That might... I can't drift in this thing. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to drift this thing. The tires are technically too doggone grippy. Because I've made it pretty much a grip build. So it ain't going to slide. Drag races, in my opinion, drag races are not worth it. Drifts mainly are, but you need to have a good drift build or it ain't gonna work. Yeah, I've done quite a lot of this frickin' map. It's ridiculous at this point. I hate that. I need to have under 200 horsepower to do that, which is fucking stupid. Yeah, you can do street races with this thing, but let's just say no high cornered turns. Might as well see how hard this thing will move. I mean, I did just push it a bit more. P.S. You can physically push a V8 to 1,000 nearly. Physically push it there. It'll only go to... It will only go to what was it? 950 is how much you can push a V8. Before the engine will physically start Yeah, muscles are technically not built for drifting. You can do it! Oh god, that launch. Jesus Murphy! Thank God I made the back tires a bit thicker. More grip in the rear. I did do in Need for Speed Payback a 1,000 horsepower Bel Air super build. Ridiculous, but it freaking works. I have two of them. A runner variant, which is technically what I call the tank, which looks ridiculous as piss, but still hits as hard. And the other one is my race build, which is technically a super built Bel Air, which for some damn reason they managed to put the V8 engine in the back seat. How the fuck do you do that? There is no way you can fit the V8 back there without having some kind of minor problem. Still don't get that. Oh, that's not ridiculous. Oh, you want to know what's ridiculous? I had a fucking Chevy C10 stepside with 1,200 horsepower, but no fucking brakes. So I couldn't slow down, period. Now that's fucking ridiculous. I could top out at like 210 miles an hour without stopping. Ridiculous in its own right, but it worked. Heck, if I remember correctly, I have a dragster in that game that is technically this roadster that does a wheelie. A massive wheelie. And that's ridiculous. Yeah, you can, in Need for Speed Payback, they have this roadster in it. You can make it a drag, a drift, a speed, or an off-road. But you can't make this thing into all of them. You can only make this car into 3 categories. Race, runner, drag. You can't make it into an off-road build. It'd be fucking awesome, but you can't. You can turn the Bel Air into all the 3. Heck, in that game they have the new Chevy Colorado that I've turned into an off-road and race build. Still haven't fully upgraded them. They also have the what was it? Oh yeah, Firebird. So Big Bang, if you want to see some ridiculous crap, I've got a lot of cars in that game. Like in Need for Speed Payback, you literally have more than enough space for any car you want. Any. You have, once you buy all 4 garages, you have unlimited space. Which means you can buy as many cars as you can freaking stomach. They have the Buick Grand National GNX. You can get, when you first start the game, you can either have 1 Nissan, 2 Volkswagen, 3 Buick. In your opinion, which one would you go for? Mine, the Buick. That's what I went for. The Buick. And I'll say this, that thing makes one heck of a racket when you floor it. Damn, it's not even fair doing these races with this damn roadster. This thing just rockets. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. $12 grand. Now, Big Bang, there's a lot of cars in Need for Speed Payback. There's even the old Land Rover Defender. And the new one. There's a lot of cars in the world. Wow, that's ridiculous. I could push the engine up to 223 miles an hour. Good lord. Now that's ridiculous. Alright, Big Bang, I'm going to change games real quick. Broadcast will stop, but I'll still be speaking.